The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the podcast belong solely to the hosts and not the host's past, present, or future employers. Hello, everybody. This is Brian for Breaking Down Security. As we talked about last week, we got Cameron Smith on this week. He's been a consultant for many a year. He's worked with a lot of engagements, a lot of customers in a lot of different industries. Some of the stories that he's talked about hit home for me specifically. I've been a government contractor. I've been a government civilian, worked in healthcare consultancy. He's had quite a bit more experience in other industries, which I found interesting. This week, one of the stories or discussions we talk about is having to deal with the fast food industry and how they work. We're going to, sit down and discuss. You're going to get some leadership, from between last week and this week. You're going to, hear some insights into how leadership and management work in various industries. Not including just the food industry, but, with other industries as well. So if you are constantly asking yourself, what are these people thinking? I think we've seen that in the last, month and a half when we talked about the school systems with April Murdoch and Jared Folkins and all them. Oh, and Nathan McNulty. Yes, that's right. Sorry, Nathan. If you are interested in understanding how industries are thinking, these are a great series of podcasts. So check all those out and check out last week's show if you haven't had a chance to do so yet. Going to get right into it. We're going to start talking about the food industry, and Cameron's going to talk about some of the trials and tribulations there. I would love to hear your insights. Please feel free to hit us up at bds.podcast@gmail.com if you have questions about some of the topics that we've discussed on this show, or if you can sympathize with Cameron and the issues that he's found and discussed with us this week. So without further ado, on with the show. So the next one I wanted to move down to was one where you mentioned poor project management. This is the chain restaurant example. So they were updating their chip readers across all of their locations during the 2017 PCI compliance window that they had. And you said the problem was poor project management on behalf of the security team led to project failure. A security problem became an IT problem, and contractor to subcontractor to subcontract. So it's contractor to third party to fourth party added time and complexity.
Yeah. Like an onion, just layers. Beautiful.
So what happened there? The restaurant chain had a contractor that was subcontracting that subcontracted out.
So yes, essentially what happened was security is trying to meet just this basic PCI compliance window, right? All the EMV chips and the chip readers that went out. Remember there was that 2017 deadline, and that sucked. But
people still aren't doing it, but
right. Well, again, do you know why? Because the window got pushed back to 2020.
Oh, okay. All right. No, I mean,
why? Because the petroleum industry needed more time.
Yeah, I've had customers that realized it was cheaper to pay the fines that they were getting from the credit card companies than it was to be PCI compliant.
Well, because they can't have real teeth. It's a fine from a company instead of the government.
Right.
Like how painful can it really be?
Mm-hmm.
When you measure your revenue in, like, if you put B after your revenue value and it's still 3 or 4 digits, like, what's a penalty? It just doesn't work. So in this instance, what happened was a security project turned into a network infrastructure project, turned into a almost completely outsourced network infrastructure project, which then turned into a subcontracted network infrastructure project.
Oh my.
And so that far away from the origination, that's the team that actually planned and executed it. And at the very end, what had all that had happened was that teams had gone and dropped and replaced firewalls and switches, and the holders for the new card readers, not the card readers, the holders for the new card readers had been installed on countertops.
That's it.
So it started out as, we need card readers, turned into, well, let's replace all our network infrastructure on the cheap via fourth party. And we'll put the holders in place. And we'll run all the cable to it too. So we're ready. We're ready, right? We're just going to drop them in, it'll work.
Sounds like poor project management. Was the person managing the project an actual project manager, or was it just, hey, Joe Bob from the help desk, you're gonna run this from now on, and he doesn't have any clue as to how all that works, and he's just gonna assume everything's okay, and I'm just gonna go over here and fiddle. What ended up happening?
So in this particular instance, it's very charitable to assume that the project was being managed. And
I know.
Secondly, there's nobody owned it, right? At one point you say, hey, who's actually responsible for this? Who do I call to complain? Like, if I'm trying to actually implement this like elephant by committee, who figured out what an elephant looked like?
Right.
And so that's essentially what happened is, okay, well, now we're going to add this service. Well, now we're going to add this service. Okay, well, we're going to pay this much per site. Okay, well, we need to do some pilot sites to make sure that it's scoped correctly. Okay, cool. Now we got it scoped based on these 5 sites that are totally representative of all of the sites, right? Like, one of these sites had a bomb shelter in the basement. Like, I shit thee not, legitimate bomb shelter in the basement. Like, one of the guys called into the bridge and he was like, I don't have a masonry bit that's longer than 18 inches. Right? I mean, real talk here. And so that's one of the things to me that just a perfect example of how this isn't a security problem, but it's a security problem, right? It's a point of how security needs to be interdisciplinary. They need to learn to touch multiple pieces. They need to know how what they do affects the other parts of the business. They need to know how they affect the functions to their left and right and above them. And they particularly need to have some of these basic skills that we expect of almost every other functional area manager,
right?
Such as the ability to integrate, or in certain times of duress or need, serve as a project manager. Like what PMO is actually going to our project management office? What internal PMO, if you're in a company that's large enough, is actually going to know anything about security? They don't.
I know this.
Oh, you cheater!
Well, they do risk management, and the problem was, it sounds like that the project scope wasn't set properly. The project statement, which tells you exactly what's going to happen and what this is going to look like when it's done. Resource management, talking about contractors needing subcontractors, stakeholder management.
Many domains that were busted.
Yeah, there are tons of domains.
Lots of busted domains.
I've got them.
I've got them. There's
all
no
right here.
project sponsor or charter.
Yeah, project cost management.
That's step 1
management.
and 2.
Right, project quality management.
No project sponsor. No project charter. What are we even doing?
Yeah, the stakeholders.
Installing new stuff because we're spending money.
Right. Well, and they wanted it done immediately, right? So
No. The best part was every subcontractor that got added lopped 3 weeks off the deadline, so they'd have room to go back and do rework and fix it. So what it originally started out at the corporate level with like a 6-month timeline to implement this project, which is absurdly short, turned into, at the very end on the subcontractor level, I think the finished teams had 6 weeks to get their runs done.
Goodness.
So each run had 10 to 20 sites on it. And these guys were doing 2 sites a night, 4 hours at a time. Literally, and you can't work on it during the day. Have to start at 2200, have to be done by 06.
Yeah, that's
Hope you don't run into any blockers.
Yeah.
Right. Again, it's just garbage scoping on top of garbage project management. It's front to back, tip to tail project management failure. Now, again, why is that a security problem? Well, the whole thing originated in the security office. Right. Security didn't go to IT and say, hey, we need to do this, or is this even possible? Right. Moreover, they didn't do it in 2016 when the window was coming up.
Yep.
And so that's the thing. It's like that. I always like to ask, what can I actually control? And from where I'm sitting, as a third-party contractor, for the most part, I come in and I'm consulting with a client. I'm like, I have very few hooks and levers to move people. What can I actually do in this moment to affect the outcome that's going to benefit my client? It's going to benefit their dependents. How do I actually fix this? Often I don't have the tools, but I have access to tools, or I have tools that will get me other tools, right? And it's just like pivoting. It's just like cracking a perimeter, right? We solve one problem after the other.
Right. So yeah, it sounds like you said, there was a PMO issue there. Whoever was the project manager did not engage all of the stakeholders, find out who all the stakeholders were, schedule things properly, set up activities. I'm going through all this now with my PMP certification course.
Beautiful, man.
I've got all this stuff, communications, projects, shareholder, project risk management, project procurement. All of this stuff probably should have been done.
I feel you. My mother's got a 4-digit PMP number, and she's been in security forever and an IT manager. Yeah, it's been a minute. I love her. She's awesome. Oh my God. But it's one of those things that she is like a unicorn in the landscape.
My wife's the same way. She's a unicorn.
Beautiful.
She's the mega program project portfolio manager.
See, and those people speak magic. Even as a consultant, some of those people pull out some templates and some processes, and I'm like, damn, I am taking notes right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Teach me your dark magic.
Yep. Yep.
And they can coordinate large groups of people for which they have very little domain expertise, and it's beautiful. By again the layers of abstraction, but there it's functional.
Right.
It's not layers of abstraction that muddle; it's layers of abstraction that clear and organize.
Yeah.
And so those people, we need to develop some capabilities. I know I'm going to add yet another thing to the security practitioner laundry list of to-dos. But honestly, how long is it going to take to learn project management? Go get your Project Plus. It'll take you 17 minutes, right? Read the material, take a test. It's $200, right? And it will just teach you the language of project management. If you're going to at least work inside of larger projects, you should probably know what a project charter is. You should probably know what the triple constraint is. You should probably know just some basic things. I don't need you to be able to do stakeholder management. I don't need you to be able to come up with some kind of crazy mega Gantt chart with all of this information just packed into it. You don't have to create these dense informational products. I just need you to know what a Gantt chart is. Maybe be able to see one that someone else made and maybe understand a little bit, just little stuff. And that'll make you a better contributor. And it all comes back to security being part of the business, not the business being in security.
Right. Right. And understanding how to get that Gantt chart by breaking down your activity or your work packages into activities, which then allows you to create your Gantt chart properly. Yeah.
Identify your critical paths, your resources. Oh yeah, man.
Right.
It's all there.
Yep.
Again, as somebody who went and took the Project Plus, I'm not going to ask people to do things I won't do. I went and took it, and it was fantastic and eye-opening, and it was great to have a resource. I mean, literally, I'm related to help me with it, and it allowed me to deepen my conversations with her with regard to work and complexity and being able to achieve more. Yep. It made me a better security practitioner to be able to integrate with PMs better.
Yep. All right. Let's go down to the defense subcontractor. That was one you were wanting to talk about earlier. So the situation is they have an MSP. So are you using MSP and MSSP the same way, or is this just a managed service
combined.
Provider?
I explicitly separate them because there are still lots of organizations out there that are solely one or the other. I think that's foolish, but it's out there.
Right.
They exist.
Okay. So MSP, working with MSP on security issues. Do we have a SIM email?
Yep.
In what way?
Literally, a ticket came into MSP asking whether or not they had a SIM.
Oh, yeah. That sounds not good. That sounds like
from a C-suite.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Do we have this?
Right. Okay. And
what?
That sounds odd. Did the C-suite find, were they reading something on CIO
Only
magazine?
Only so many reasons they're going to ask that question, right?
Yeah.
Only so many ways. Turns out it's a compliance piece that they've been missing for mumble years.
Right.
You know,
we told
and
our prime on the contract that we had one, and now we need to get one in place now.
That is one possible outcome. I would always rather assume incompetence than malice, but it's one of those things in this instance where the real breakdown is that the company executives didn't know enough to do their due diligence in the first place. I mean, part of it is a defense sub that's been in business that long has been around for lots of compliance frameworks to come and go, and hasn't been bitten by it yet somehow. You know, you can tell the ones that they have general counsel.
Right.
You know, so it's one of those things where the first problem in this particular instance is, regardless of the remediation and all the other steps, you have a company executive that hasn't done the due diligence. You have an MSP that said, well, if they needed security and compliance, they'd ask for it. And you have a master services agreement between the two that's exclusive, not inclusive. So master services agreement says, we will do your patch management. We will provide you with remote monitoring. We will do X. It doesn't tell you what I won't do. It only explicitly tells you, you know, what I will do. And everything else is by default not included. Right? The drop package rule.
Right.
Just one of those things that you look at this and it's just this beautiful combination of miscommunication and a lack of education, which sounds like it has really boring vanilla solutions, right? We'll talk better and learn. You know, like those aren't actionable solutions. You see a lot of this stuff where people are like, oh, we've got to do this better. We've got to do this better. We've got to do, and they lay out some of these really broad, vague things. Like, what does that actually look like? Let's assume my work week is free and I can start right now. How do I get better at X? You know, a lot of companies fail at that. A lot of companies are like, we're gonna increase the collaboration between all of our functional areas. All right, cool. Can you identify what starting on that looks like for me? Even in a vague sense, so I could maybe do some Google foo, get started, get a heads up, you know. In this instance, what can we do, falling back to making it relevant to security, what can security practitioners do to fix it, right? Security needs to be proactive on multiple levels. But more importantly, we talk about single points of failure all the time. You know, everybody's familiar with the CIA triad. If you're not, Google's your friend. Availability is what's important, right? And availability in that triad is one of the things that we address by removing single points of failure. So what's interesting is a lot of people never think in terms of single points of failure. They never think of non-technical systems. What is a single point of failure that you don't plug into a wall?
Bob from accounting.
Boom, headshot, right? Perfect example. Critical employee with specific domain knowledge that does a critical function, right? Chances are also has worked there forever, knows where all the skeletons are buried. And if he got hit by a beer truck, all that institutional knowledge is gone.
Right.
I mean, I'm not telling any news stories here. Like this is, I give you 15 clients this particular incident has happened with, not the SIM piece, but this non-technical single point of failure. How do you look at your business processes? And what happens is this is a simultaneous failure, both the business and security. Security needs to get better at business, not the other way around. We talk about business to get better at security for how long now? That's not happening. It's just not. Security has to get better at business. You have to identify those single points of failure that aren't technical. You have to have a leadership system that wants to enable you to get better at it. You know, if I say, hey, we've got a guy, he's been here for 5 years. He's already got an undergraduate degree in computer science. He's really bitten down on working for the company. He's going to be here a long time, right? All the stable markers of an employee, right? Owns a house, maybe just had a kid, something like that. Guy's going to be here a while. That particular person is an excellent candidate if he has the inclination and the drive to maybe go get an MBA. Now you have a security person that can work within the business and talk the language that they talk, map some of those processes, right? I mean, we're not talking like data flow maps here, although those are critical as well, but just the basic processes and functions the business needs to run. You know, here we say one of the critical processes for this enterprise is compliance. Like you literally work with confidential defense information. Like it's I mean, short of needing a clearance to touch it or look at it, that's about as sensitive as you get. You know, you can do things like create radar signatures from the particular dimensions of a particular vehicle or particular, airframe or, whatever you got. You can create things that damage or impact our national security profile. And here we've got folks that you can just access stuff. There's no like logging. There's no, what is SEAM? Question mark. Right? Like that stuff's kind of terrifying. And when you think that there's thousands and thousands of defensive contractors out there, and the vast majority of them are actually small and medium businesses, it's a little sketch, you know. And so we've got to get better at business. You've got to again come back to that value prop. I really like to talk about Christopher Voss. He's a FBI negotiator, like world class. And I think he just released a master class as well. But he wrote a book called Never Split the Difference. And one of the things you can do when you're talking to some of these people is use some of these techniques, right? Like mirroring and so on, where you can talk to people and have them do something that they need to do, whether they want to do it or not. You can have them do something that you want them to do, and they think they wanted to do it. Is it manipulative? Yes. Am I manipulating some of these people to do things that they need to do? Absolutely. And we argue about the ethics of that, but the bottom line is, if I need to motivate you to do the things you need to be doing to improve your security posture, that's my job. So that's security getting better at business. We need the rank and file. We need the security management. Those folks have to get better at analyzing business, engaging with business leaders, building relationships, and really affecting institutional change.
So the guy who sings on Yacht Rock Radio, all them soft rock songs, he's an FBI negotiator? I didn't know it.
I think so.
No, wait, that's Christopher Cross. My bad.
Oh, there we go.
You said Christopher Voss. My bad.
No, Voss with a V.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, although he doesn't work for the FBI anymore, I believe. I think he's a consultant.
Okay.
Surprise face.
Yeah. He co-authored a book, Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as If Your Life Depended on It.
It's a fantastic book, super popular in military circles. If you need to get higher leadership to do something, there are lots of techniques you can use to get people to agree with you, whether they wanted to agree with you or not.
Okay. Yeah, it's on Audible. It's also on Amazon, of course, if you're interested in
I get nothing from him. I've never even talked to the guy. I got a recommendation from my friend who's Air Force missileer. He was like, Cam, you got to check this out. And I've used it almost every day of my life since then.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, there's a link in the show notes to Christopher Voss on his Wikipedia, yes. Not Christopher Cross, Yeah.
Like you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, very famous book.
Okay. Very good.
Bestseller, I'm sure.
It's not that old, right? It's like 5 years old.
It's May 2016 was the latest version, and it's got roughly 5,000 5-star reviews. So, 4,798 5-star reviews. So, not 5,000.
Pull it down, read it, life altering.
Okay.
Or if you don't like reading, masterclass.
Masterclass.
Yeah. Again, not affiliated. Just as a guy who spends a lot of time in the car, like being able to listen to stuff.
Right. I've seen something online for that masterclass thing. I wanted to see what that was all about. Their
marketing is top tier.
Yeah.
That's like some Grey Goose style marketing.
Masterclass.com, yeah.
So on the topic of, digesting things, right? You got a NGO example where the executive director was given some information and, it was just too in the weeds, right?
Yeah. It's a perfect example. So on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, right? We're not talking defense subs. We're not talking medium-sized business. We're not talking big bank. We're not talking revenue with a B. This is an NGO that's part of a global chaptered nonprofit system, right? As is typical for like the Red Cross and so on. Not the Red Cross, but another NGO. And so this executive director works with, is honestly, they're kind of in the middle of the bell curve for their organization in terms of how they compare to like similar size regions. So it's like not an outlier for their org at all. like $1.5 million operating budget a year, 12 staff. Right.
Right.
She gets this multi-page security guidance document from the national or global chapter. I can't remember which one it was. And she said she opened it up. She looked at it. She got overwhelmed by page 2 and shut it again and put it on the side of her desk and kept working on what she was working on before. Implementing 0% of it.
Right.
These are people
happens
that take
a lot.
Donor money. These are people with public books. These are people who are, I mean, honestly, silver-souled human beings, right? I mean, dollars to donuts, I would wager she's probably a day-to-day better human being than I am.
Right.
Wonderful lady, super nice, works for other people at breakneck salary rates, right? Like, great person, just wants to help people, no malice at all. Just looked at this document and said, I don't even have an IT person. How am I supposed to implement this?
Right.
You know,
right.
Got 12 seats. 12 seats.
Yep.
What do they do? I mean, literally, the whole reason I was there actually wasn't security related. It was a server. They literally had a server that wasn't on a UPS. Zap. I mean, in 2020. Yeah, real talk.
Yeah.
You know, it's basic stuff, right? Again, how as a security practitioner, what can we do? You know, I can't change their operating paradigm. I can't change that executive director's level of education. I can't change a lot of things in that scenario. You know, so how do I help her? That's my job, right? What am I supposed to do to help her?
Well, I guess it depends on what was the need for the security guidelines in the first place. Was this because the parent organization got completely owned? Was it new guidelines because of government, government affairs kind of stuff? Was it, new privacy ruling? If they're, let's say the country that they're in or the state that they're in is, like if it was in California, say the new privacy guidelines had to go into place. So those had to be implemented because you're dealing with fines. So
had to be in air quotes.
Yeah. So it says.
I mean, that's the thing is it's like what is she going to do? She doesn't have the resources.
Right.
So how do I help
cloud?
Her? You know, and so the ultimately to get to the solution here, right? Solution also in air quotes. The real problem here that I can actually get a bite of and get a handle on is when I'm creating these things, right? Or when I'm looking at these things and saying, I'm going to push this out to a bunch of 10-man shops, right? I'm going to push this out to a company with 15 seats, right? You know, there's a guy who's going to read this that is managing these people that's probably already working 50 or 60 hours a week on a low salary just because he loves what he does, and is trying to give to his community, et cetera. How do I help that guy implement something? How do I create security rules? How do I create a security posture? How do I explain the depth and breadth and complexity of what we do to someone in a written document that gets disseminated, And so that's the part that we can actually fix, right? We don't need to make already dense material even more inaccessible. I don't need to point someone at a compliance framework. That is the least helpful thing you can do. If you're a consultant and the first thing that you did was you told a client that they need to look up a compliance framework, you need to give that money back.
Right.
You were just not helping, right? The whole reason they hired you is because they don't know. And telling them, oh, well, you guys need to do some research and get back with me. Fail.
Yeah, that's not going to get you a sale. That's not going to.
Well, that's the sad part is by the time you're there, you're already under in contract. You're already engagement.
I see.
That's again, consulting's a weird world on an already weird industry. It's kind of nuts. And so this is one of the things where like, what can we do? I can't mandate compliance, right? Even if we give people penalties, right, like GDPR style. If we give people penalties, I haven't made it so that you have to do it. I provided you with a consequence for not doing it. What is a fine for a rich person?
Right.
What it costs to do something. So I got a buddy, love him to death, super cool guy, trust fund guy. We were rolling up outside of one of the bars in Bloomington, and he parks right in a fire lane. And it says around sign, right? Like, don't park here, fire lane, $200. We pull up, but I'm like, hey man, like, we can't park here. He's like, yeah, we can. Like, it costs $200 to park here. Okay, I understand that's the paradigm you approach the world with. Got it. You know, and it's one of those things that, like, if I can't make people be compliant, I mean, we can't make people do anything, right? I don't have mind control. I can't just put their hands on the keyboard and make them do the work. So how do we actually get them to achieve compliance, right? Whether it's with the actual framework or not. All right, it's got to be accessible. They've got to just be. It's got to be possible. You can't hand down a security document to a 10-man shop. It's not real.
Right.
Right. Let's assume they did have dedicated IT staff. They had the one person. Right. Was that person even going to be capable of implementing this? What if one of the requirements is logging? Like, there's a good chance that your average help desk guy doesn't even know what syslog is. I mean,
Miss Berlin is
there. It is.
Miss Berlin is nodding knowingly. She's like, "Yep, I
have to deal with it on a daily basis.
I know this is absolutely the panel to preach logging to.
Well, but at least that side of the Zoom interface. One, Ms. Berlin's doing the logging bit, and Mr. Betcher's trying to help people get better logs. So
I mean, most of our customers are have 1 to 10 person teams, maybe.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
With no real internal resources, right? Maybe the motivation even.
Make it super easy.
Done, right? You have to make it easy. But what happens when we make security products easy? Right? Here's your Blinky box. You're safe now. Yes. Put the Blinky box in.
Right. They still ignore it.
Yeah. Oh, well, it makes a whole bunch of emails if we do this. So let's not do that. Oh, we've modified behavior now. Maybe. Oh, well, I'll just put an email filtering rule on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard making them care as well. Like, even if everything's correct, a lot of times it doesn't matter.
And that's the language part, right? And that's how do I talk to them in a language that's scary? So if there's a particular NGO, right, a way that you can engage with someone that's doing this, you can say, you help how many thousand people a year? How many tens of thousands of people a year? You can have a single security incident that can eat your annual budget for the next 3 years by not doing some of the basic things that are on this document. We can take the stupid stuff and throw it out. But some of the basic things, right? Having a firewall, having some sort of logging set up, running EDR. I don't care if it's the built-in stuff. I mean, I'm sure Mr. Betch could probably talk at length about the built-in antivirus for various OSs. Although, are you mostly Microsoft, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. But even then, I mean, it's still valuable. There's still lots of information that's collected and generated, lots of stuff to alert on. There's some great solutions out there that even come with the OS that people have, But we've got to create solutions that are realistic for both the problem and also realistic to implement. And it comes from the person up at the national or global chapter that's sitting there hand jamming this document out that might just be copy pasta from some random compliance framework.
Right.
Probably true.
That's bad security. And this is one of the reasons why I like talking about security failures, because when security works, when security looks right, nothing happens, right? That's also in air quotes there, but nothing happens to the end user, right? To the dependents. They're, all right, everything keeps working. So that we've got to make these things possible for these people. And that's how you attack the 10-man shops. That's how you attack the 10-man shops that are the front end for third-party vendor compromise to much larger shops with much more critical applications and mission sets and data.
Yeah.
Right? I attack an accounting shop. I attack an MSP. MSPs are just, God, their attacker gold. They are beautiful, beautiful.
Not Miss Berlin's though.
Nah.
Yours is uber secure.
Totes my goats. But it's one of those things, like, it's hard, right?
She's not replying.
Don't reply. Don't reply.
It is.
She's
No,
not in the
I
affirmative or negative in this case. She's like,
It's hard. No, I've had.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Exactly. So I've had. So here I'm a level with you. I've had 8-man outfit that I've worked with. Right.
Yeah.
Horribly insecure. Manages absolutely critical infrastructure. Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then I've also seen 3-man shops that were tight ships. And it's like the difference from one to the other is who's in charge, who's making decisions, and who wants to put the legwork in.
Yep. I mean, honestly, the person that's put most of the legwork in, I'd say, at least from my perspective, is a super security person, right? He has his CISP and his OSCP. So like, I mean, I feel like that's a good position. I mean, he definitely knows more than I do when it comes to securing stuff.
I mean, but like those people are worth their weight in gold, right?
Yeah,
particularly someone that's like that, that's not going to use that occult knowledge phenomenon to beat people over the head.
Right, exactly.
It's like, it's the mystery security technique that makes you safe. Just give me the word. Like, no, you need to teach people. You need to share that knowledge.
Yep.
Because it's your company that suffers. You know, like you guys all suffer together. It's your payroll comes from the same place mine does. I would like to think that we're going to protect that together.
Right.
You know, and same as a consultant, like their payroll, like my invoices are paid out of the same bank accounts. So,
right.
I don't know. It's one of those things that's hard. The small shops, I think, are the biggest vulnerability we face as a society. How do you secure the 1, 5 to, oh Jesus, there's so many. Mm-hmm. How do you secure the small groups that don't know, don't care, right? Whatever the actual reason is. And I think that you have to make it possible. It's one of the reasons why I'm literally changing my entire paradigm. I'm not going to drop out of consulting, but I want to create services that target those people and work with almost exclusively some of these small shops, because there's got to be something to do to help them. And I've got some tricks and I've got some tips, and I'm going to try to glue some stuff together. But security is also hyper contextual, right? Your security is not the same as my security, is not the same as everyone else. And that's the
how
problem.
are you going to reach out to these small orgs that don't know that they don't know, and don't know you, or don't know that there's actually people out there who can help them? What's your model for that? It's like, how do you reach them?
Well, the good news is that it's 2020 and reaching people is not difficult. It's moving people that's difficult. And that's the crux of the problem in the first place. It's not the people that don't know. It's getting someone to act, or getting somebody to buy something, right? And people buy incredibly stupid stuff all the time. You know, it's the power of marketing. I
should see my purchase history over the last week.
Pick your favorite. I mean, I am no better than anyone else. My Amazon order history. Man. Yeah, it's sketch. It's super sketch. So how do you reach these people? Well, honestly, you have to combine security with marketing. And I don't think you have to combine a security product with marketing. That's what a lot of these large orgs do, right? You see these huge companies that are like, we're going to sell you the thing, right? I love to pick on Alien Vault. We're going to sell you the solution. And then at the end of it, your problem will be capital S solved, right? And it's like, maybe? What does it actually do? Like, there's only 10 people here. None of us are monitoring it. So I assume you guys will call me if there's a problem, right? Like, oh yeah, well, it turns out like no one answers the business phone after 5 p.m. Oh, crap. You can't sell people that kind of product, right? What you have to actually sell people is you have to sell them the things that they're missing to make these security problems less of a problem. And like we talk about security, it's not black or white, right? It's gray. How do I make them not secure? How do I make them more secure, right? You're a 10-man shop. You can't afford to pay more than a couple $100 a month or $500 a month or whatever, right? Some piddly amount for a lot of these companies. Well, you know, what can you get for a couple $100 in monthly services? Right? Can you get an MFA solution?
I'd imagine not a lot.
Right?
I mean,
there's some good open source MFA solutions.
Right.
Right? So what you can do is you can leverage some of these FOSS technologies with your in-house experience, productize, package it all together, and then offer someone a mostly automated solution. And then when you couple with this, you have to find someone in the org that's willing to commit and bite down and at least learn from the end user's perspective how to operate it. I don't need them to become a technical wizard. I don't need them to become some sort of guru or ninja or, God forbid, rock star. I just need them to look at some alerts, and the ones that we send to you are already going to be scary. Just send all that to us, right? And work out a pricing structure that works. Hell, half the time, I've written off so much labor just to help clients with problems, right? You're a payroll company, 200,000 people aren't going to get paychecks. I'm willing to spend an absurd amount of time helping you right now. We will figure out how much it costs later. You know, especially right now.
Right.
Like most people aren't getting paychecks anyways. So like that's the kind of thing where these small businesses, you've got to do these things to help them. You know, right now, do you know the kind of social engineering gold that coronavirus has presented?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, that's not even low-hanging fruit. That fruit's on the floor and rotting.
Yep. Yeah, you can get people to click on pretty much anything, I think, if it's got COVID in it, or, you know, even hint in the email that, you know, furloughs are happening here, click on what benefits you're going to get. Boom, they're going to click on that immediately. And,
exactly.
You know, hey,
Who's
log
not going to
into
open a PDF.
Yeah, log into your company's, you know, HR portal that we're setting up to, you know, enable, you know, unemployment benefits or whatever, and, you know, use your domain admin to, you know, or use your credentials to log into this, you know, seemingly innocent portal, and they've got everything. So
beautiful. Brian, I had no idea you were a social engineer.
I'm not. It's just
right. So if you're not an expert and you can craft it, what about the people that do it for money?
Wait, did you?
Not in a good way.
Did you just use me as an example?
I did. Hashtag consultant.
I feel dirty here. I don't know how I did that.
My point is like that stuff's easy, right? And we all know there's some absurd number, like 97% of attacks start with email. Like, it's like we talk about 80-20 in the military. Right. Like, holy shit, 97-3. I'm gonna solve that problem.
Yep.
The real issue there is the human firmware, right? We can't update it. Been the same for like 1.9 billion years. Can't update it.
Yeah.
People are pack creatures. We like being helpful, and we're also driven by fear.
Right. Right.
I can't keep someone from typing their domain creds into a PDF.
Yep.
I can't.
Nope.
So how do we fix that? And there are tools and applications and solutions that do it. But because salaries in InfoSec are artificially inflated, no one's willing to do it for less than a couple $100 an hour.
Yep.
You know, someone's like, oh, I've got to make $400,000 a year because I know the occult knowledge. I'm like, dude, last time I checked, you live in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And that one's for Amanda because both Indiana and Ohio shit on Kentucky like it's our job.
Every time, all the time.
Oh, you're south of the river down there, son. Oh, did you war shell?
In West Virginia. In West Virginia.
Yeah, just if you're on the other side of some water, that's right. No go.
Yep.
But I mean that's the thing, right? You got a guy that's like, this is my skill set, this is what it's worth, this is what I'm going to charge.
Right. And it may be unrealistic depending on where you live. So.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if the same thing happened for police officers? I'm the guy who's literally going to come shoot the guy that broke in your house in the face so they don't kill you and your family. That's worth some money.
$500,000. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like I should make $400,000 a year. I'm even better. This one's my favorite. I'm a teacher. I am simultaneously a babysitter and educator, and I keep your kid from driving you insane 40 plus hours a week.
I think people are now realizing.
Yeah. Yes. I hope that it sticks, and I hope it shows up at the building. The teachers are amazing, salt of the earth humans.
Oh, and yeah.
I tell you what, you want to talk about people that can bypass security procedures like it's their job. Well, if you're listening to this, you can quit your job right now and come make a killing in security.
Oh yeah.
Make 10 years of your teacher salary in the next 5.
Yep.
Easy. So that's the thing, right? It's like how do you provide, because it's fundamentally a resource constraint for the small business, right? Because the education piece, the marketing, all that still doesn't solve the core problem. They're poor, right? Historically, how we solved resource constraints in the IT community at large, not security, but IT at large, right? Typically with FOSS solutions and a lot of volunteer elbow grease.
Yep.
So I was actually considering starting this MSSP as a nonprofit MSSP.
Oh, cool.
But the problem is that in the security space, it's a great way to get taken not take it at face value. A great way to be taken for granted.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It has,
like,
it has to have value.
You're not making money, so
yeah, has to make money to mean something, or you have to pay for it for people to see value in it.
I can get a CEO to pay attention to me if I charge him $1,000 an hour.
Right.
I cannot get a CEO to pay attention to me if I charge him under 200. And it's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're not legit then. So.
Yeah, you're not real.
Yep.
All the people I know that do work, I got a buddy who's a professional magician, acting magician. It's all he does. Literally entertains people. Did 90 days in Europe in a backpack. Awesome guy, Navy veteran, submariner. Cool dude. And one of the things that he'll talk about, constantly, is that he'll bring up like this value prop, this how do you sell this service to a thing, right? He'll go do a corporate function. If he charged $100 for an hour of his time, then it can't be that good a show, right?
Right.
He charges the same corporate function $1,000 for the show, pay it a heartbeat.
Sure.
Right? 'Cause he's not, and his advice to all the people I've seen, he just tells people outright, whatever your rate is, double it. Whatever you think you're worth, however you figure that out, whatever pricing mechanism you use to come to it, just double it.
Yeah.
People actually take it seriously.
Nice. Yeah.
Yay, freelance.
Yep. So let's sum up what we've learned tonight. One, security should learn to be more approachable, learn how to market themselves, and learn how to work with the business, not the business working with security. Guidance should be easily digestible and not difficult to understand. No 300-page policy documents. Try to keep it, as digestible as possible for the most people that's going to be seeing it. And poor project management practices will screw you in the end. Is there anything I'm missing there?
No, the only thing that I would touch or to add on to that is the what does the success actually look like, right? What's 100%. The takeaway? Like, the fundamental takeaway is, what does security success look like? And I imagine you guys have some ideas, right? What does success look like to you in a security landscape?
I would think security in many respects would be, you don't actually see the security. It's just there. There's no success or failure. There's no breach or non-breach. It's just like, ideally, security would be, I can go and do my work, and I don't have to wonder if somebody's going to come and shut me down or if I'm going to have access issues. Security is just, I get to do my 8 to 5, 40 hours a week, and I don't get hampered or hassled by anybody. Ms. Berlin, do you have any other different definition of that?
Yeah, catching the bad guy.
In your case,
I like it.
The bad guy.
Love direct action.
Right. Mr. Betcher, how about you?
Well, what you said, yes, definitely getting out of the way of business as much as you possibly can, right? You've got your goals that you need to achieve. Obviously, don't say the B word, or you don't have to, right? Because you weren't, right?
Right.
And and allow the business to do what it does best.
Right.
So I think that all those are fantastic answers. And sorry to hijack your podcast for a second, ask you guys some questions. But to me, security success, there's a lot of different outcomes, but there's some things that they share on a fundamental level. And I think that security success isn't what a lot of people think it is. It's just being better day after day. Am I more secure today than I was yesterday? Moreover, if you're a security professional and you're helping someone else be secure, either as a volunteer effort or as part of your living, or if you're just the one-man IT shop, help desk, IT manager, compliance officer, do it all in a small business. you're being successful at security, arguably at just about anything, right? If you're better at it today than you were yesterday, and you're better at doing whatever it is you're supposed to be doing than you were when you started this morning. And I know, what is it, like a Hemingway quote, or maybe there's a misattribution, I can't remember, but something about that there's nothing noble, right? There's nothing noble in being better than other men. It's true nobility is being superior to your previous self, and so that, without trying to be super high-minded or ephemeral in some weird way, like I just think that applies across the board. If you're going to be a better security practitioner today than you were yesterday, what does that look like? Is it parsing through hours of log data? Is it getting a certification? Is it learning? Are the things that you're doing making an impact in what you're trying to secure? I mean, on a fundamental level, that's what consultants should be doing. We should be making our clients better. And I think that if you're not doing that, you're not growing, then what are you doing?
Right.
I mean, collecting a paycheck on the status quo, selling a product. Like all the sales and account managers out there in the world, God bless you if you're security oriented or not, but selling a SIM to a company that might not even be able to use the damn thing is not helping them. Right. It's selling a cool tool to people that just bought it because they're scared. It's not helping them.
Yeah.
But these aren't the talks you hear at Black Hat, right? These aren't the talks you hear at DEF CON. People want to hear about cool techniques, the latest exploits, or nobody wants to go through what a good like defer program looks like. Nobody wants to go through what patching looks like. Well, it's old, right? We've talked about that forever. Yep. Just go look up all the old patching solutions from 94.
Yep.
Totally relevant today. Right?
Yep. And in many cases, having that SIM and not using it's worse, because if you have the technology in place and you were still breached, what were you using that for? What did we invest our money in? Why did we waste our time and effort getting that if you weren't actually using it in the first place?
You should have just taken what you paid for it in terms of implementation, consulting, sales, labor to stand it up, monitor, maintain, never mind your licensing costs. Take all that, put it in a savings account, hope it makes a dent in your breach remediation.
Yep. 100%.
So that's it. I think that if you want to be successful at security, we talked a lot about failure. If you want to be successful at security, you need to be better at it today than you were yesterday, and you need to make a plan to be better at it tomorrow than you are today.
Nice.
Right? Incremental, small, consistent. Mm-hmm. That's how you get good at something, anything, from shooting to bowling to security.
That's awesome. All right. That is a great place to stop. I think everybody is going to have a little bit of everything here to catch on and listen to with that. Cameron, if people wanted to reach out to you to maybe talk more about your small business MSSP, or maybe some C-level folks have, it does happen. People do listen to this podcast, but maybe they want to reach out and get your services. How would they find you, or how would they get a hold of you?
You can reach me on Twitter at Secnomancer, SECNOMANCER, Secnomancer.
Okay. You
can reach the company at thecybersmith.com. We'll have the rest of the site live on Tuesday, April 14th. God, I'm losing track of my days in quarantine.
Yep.
So I have the site live then. You can always hit me up, or anybody on the team, at ask@thecybersmith.com. And for everybody listening, you can reach me directly at Cameron@thecybersmith.com. Feel free to reach out, drop me a line. If you're hurting or if you are currently under attack, please do not hesitate to reach out. Bad news does not get better with time. Let somebody help you. Even if I can't help you, I promise you I will find you someone to help you.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. All of those contact information's in our show notes at breakingsecurity.com if you want that. Ms. Berlin, tell us a little bit about all the stuff that you're doing while you're in quarantine.
I've watched a lot of Netflix.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Fucking Joe Exotic.
Real talk.
I don't even
Real
understand what all that bullshit is with Joe Exotic. I just don't.
Dude,
It's complete bullshit.
dude.
It's the Tiger Show, right?
I took you gotta watch it.
No, I took one look at this guy and I'm like, yeah, he's
living
from
where
Florida.
I live. All of us have met someone that is like that.
Yes.
We understand.
Yes, that is true. We do have the Exotic Feline Rescue Center in Indiana.
I remember as a teenager going to my boyfriend's friend's house, and he lived in a trailer and had a cougar in the cage behind it, and he told us to not go near it because it would bite you. I'm like, okay, thanks. That's great.
I mean, I understand that this guy makes Joe Dirt look smart, but I mean, anyway, yeah. So other than
it's a roller coaster. Other than Netflix. I canceled a whole bunch of flights. We've been doing remote lobby cons with mental health hackers.
Okay.
So I started using hashtag remote lobbycon. So that way we can have some kind of village presence for all of the conferences that have gone online.
Okay.
And it's actually been pretty successful. We had I hope I don't get this wrong, a clinical psychologist a couple weeks ago, and then we're going to have another kind of doctor tomorrow.
tomorrow being April 13th, you probably didn't see it before this was.
She is a clinical psychologist in Illinois, and she's worked with a bunch of different issues, and she's actually going to cover grief, coping, and everything regarding quarantine at the beginning of our thing tomorrow.
Would it be possible to record that? Maybe
I can ask.
I mean, that way when people listen to this in a month, they could be, damn, I wish I'd have gotten a chance to hear that, and then sorry.
I will attempt that. We're going to keep on doing the hashtag remote lobby cons and tweeting out registration links and stuff. If really it's just like getting on and talking like you would in a lobby.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. And how would people find out about all of those things, including how would they get a hold of you if they wanted to ask more questions about hackers' health and all that?
So for me at InfoSystir, INFOSYSTIR, at Hackers Health for that, and then at InfoSec Roleplay for the training that Jeremy and I are doing. And hopefully that'll be online. We'll be able to figure out how to do it online soon. We've been working on that really hard.
Get Roll20 or, Fantasy Playgrounds or something to do that with or something,
Oh, man.
See something
and
like
because
that.
Zoom has breakout rooms, we tested it the other day and they work amazing.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Mr. Betcher, you're doing a lot of work yourself. I mean, other than being full-time dad to father of four while your wife's out working, you're actually getting some work done with LogMD, yeah?
Yep. Coding. It's what I do. And, just, I guess when I put everyone to bed, right. And then I start that.
Right.
But yeah, lots of things going on. So check it out. log-md.com. As you mentioned before.
Yep.
Log the right things, right?
Log the right things. That's right. So I pulled up the list of things I want. I just saw on Twitter today, being 12 April, that and I think this has happened a couple of weeks ago as well, but I just thought I'd bring it up. Layer 8 conference is virtual this year. So you go to layer8conference.com. They've still got tickets available, obviously, because it's going to be virtual. So there's going to be a lot more opportunities for attending this conference. Layer 8, I think, deals with, I want to say it's OSINT and social engineering. I could be wrong. Let me go.
No, you're right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know it had Layer 8 people, kind of stuff. If you're interested in learning OSINT techniques, I know folks like Joe Gray is working on some curricula as well. There's a ton of stuff out there for, as a matter of fact, let me pull up my Slack just because I've logged a ton of stuff inside of the CTF/education channel here. So if you are interested in LinkedIn Learning, there's a Kali Linux on Windows 10. Autopsy, the digital forensics organization, or autopsy.com, they actually have free autopsy training. Go to their website. There'll be a link in our Slack. I'll put it in our show notes just for shits and giggles here so that you can get that. For their free training, it's a $495 value, and they will give it to you for free, but there's a deadline. Trusted Sec has just announced, a couple days ago, that they are having a professional training course online. So if you go to trustedsec.com, you can get involved with that. Some of it, I think the first couple classes were PowerShell classes with Ben 10 and Carlos Perez. Carlos Perez, of course, everybody knows him from Pulse Security Weekly. Awesome gentleman, knows his shit about PowerShell. Make sure you can sign up for that if you can. AppSec, OWASP Virtual AppSec Days, April 2020. This may be too late, but it's April 28th and 29th. Maybe a little too late by then, but we'll see. And Radar has a series of 6 tutorial series videos online. There's a YouTube playlist link in the show notes for that one as well. I mean, there is a ton of stuff out there. If you are bored, you should not be bored. Like defensive security and Jerry and Andy said, this is a great time to upskill if you're sitting at home, if you're on furlough, God forbid. Go out there and find some stuff to do, get skilled up on something. I mean, Pen Tester Academy even has $249 a year, down from $828 a year for their full attack defense lab. So, I mean, there are options out there if you're just wanting to learn something new, get involved with the community, start going to Miss Berlin's Hackers Health remote lobbycons, or, start up a free Zoom. It's 40 minutes if you don't even want to pay for it, for a free webinar kind of stuff. Security issues be damned. You're going to have assholes, doing that stuff, but they do have better security now. We lock the room here, just set it up so you're not sharing, all your screens or allowing other people to share if that's a necessary thing. We have a book club that's still going on, I think for another 3-4 weeks on, using or pen testing AWS environments with Kali. It happens on Monday nights, 9 p.m. Central Time, which is 7 p.m. Pacific, and I think it's probably
a really nice group.
Yeah.
I was in there a couple times, and then got utterly slammed. But it's a really nice group. They're very welcoming.
That's awesome. Yeah. Dave Cybuck and JB, they do one for US and then I think for EMEA as well. So if you're in the European Union, I think we do that Saturday morning US time, but I could be wrong. I'll talk to JB and make sure that we're still doing that one. So we have a Slack. It's very active. We're doing a lot of stuff in there. We actually have a specific COVID-19 channel. So if you don't want to deal with all the COVID stuff, we actually have a specific channel for that, so you don't even have to visit that one. We have a no politics policy as well, so we firmly enforce that on all the other channels. But we have red team and pen testing channels, SIM and logging channels. We have a threat intel and threat hunting channel, mental health channel. So if you're just need to talk to some people about stuff, I mean, I'm in there quite a bit, talking about things that are happening to me. We have there's just a lot of stuff. So if you're interested in joining our Slack, we're very noob friendly because we're all noobs in there. You can send us an email to bds.podcast@gmail.com, or you can head up the official podcast Twitter at BrakeSec, BRAKESEC. Mr. Betcher, you didn't tell us where we could find you on Twitter. Unmute yourself, bro. There you go.
That'll be at BetcherPwned.
Right.
BOETTCHERPWNED.
Right on. Appreciate that. So we have a YouTube channel. We have a store. So if you want to buy a t-shirt with our logo on it, or a mug, or I was actually looking for bandanas, but they don't have bandanas on there. I thought that would be perfect with this whole, you need a mask to go everywhere you go. You could get like a, bandana with our logo on it. They don't have those, sadly. But you can get t-shirts and then, just, make the mask that way if you'd like. If you go to tpublic.com/user/BDS podcast, you can, check that out.
Because then you could have a face mask with my face on it.
Oh,
what?
That's recursion right there. You need. Are you going to leave the old one up and put a new picture, or are you just going to,
I don't know. I'd have to go get my. So that's a picture I took when my eyes were dilated.
Right.
So I'd have to go to the doctor again. I really don't want to do that. So.
Oh yeah.
I mean, is there a home remedy on dilating your eyes?
I don't think that's safe. I don't think that's something you should do.
Yeah. Okay.
Just eyes. Yeah. You got a spare.
Yeah, you got spare eye. Thank you to our Patreon members for helping us with hosting fees, with Zoom payments, with domains. I just re-upped our Zooms for another year, $350. So every month they're going to help us pay for the 2 accounts that we use to make sure that all the stuff in the Slack happen and the weekly podcasts that we're recording on those, as well as domain fees for registering that shite. So appreciate them for everybody doing that. If you can't support the podcast that way, please leave feedback on your favorite podcast platform. We're on Pandora, we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on Google Play Store, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Player.fm, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. We're pretty much everywhere you can find us. And we appreciate everybody helping in any way they can to get our message out there. So I think that was it for this week. We've got some really great shows that have been out in the last few weeks with Tanya Yanka, and we've got a couple that are in the pipe in the next few weeks that I'm hoping that we'll get as well. So please tell your friends if you're sitting at home bored, crack a cold one and cold soda or hipster water like I drink, and take a listen. So, Cameron, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I learned a lot this week, especially since you added the PM section on that document. That
it's just for you, man. Just for you.
I got a lot to learn, and I hope by the time this goes to air that I will have successfully passed my PMP. But I don't know if that's going to be. So we'll see.
Me too. You'll get it.
Eventually, or I'll have to wait another year to take another 3 tests. So yeah.
Just be more prepared for it tomorrow than you are today.
That is wise words.
Good tie-in, man.
That is wise words. Yes.
I do what I do.
Right on. All right. Well, that was it for Breaking Down Security this week. Have a great week. Better week than last week, maybe. Be well. Be well. Be safe. Keep yourselves socially distanced. Take care of yourself mentally, because you're the only you have. And we'll talk to y'all again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.